Well, it looks like Trump is not the all-powerful king he's been sold to us as. He is not winning the younger generation. He is not building a lasting, committed, multicultural base. And it's because we finally have leaders who fight for us. My name is Brittany Page, and this is the Page Perspective. I won't oversell it, but we have a lot to be happy about today. And I hope after many months of terror that you take a moment to feel that relief, happiness, joy, and power. Take this moment because we need it to continue building power. And yes, we've already got Donald Trump cope going.
And last night it was, not expected to be a victory. It was very Democrat areas, but I don't think it was good for Republicans. I don't think it was good. I'm not sure it was good for anybody.
Oh, sweetie, no, it was very good for those of us who are not billionaires, who are not concerned about the golden ballrooms and marble bathrooms and Great Gatsby parties at Mar-a-Lago. It was a very good night for people who clock into work and clock out of work using a time clock on the wall, who are staring at the budget on their phone, wondering how they're going to make the cash last long enough to cover this month's groceries. And to those who have been marginalized and attacked by racism and bigotry, who now feel a sense of community with those who stepped up to vote to protect them from masked men in the streets kidnapping their family and community members. And I said I won't oversell it, especially because as I looked at my social media feeds today, interspersed with celebrations were posts about those very masked men I just spoke of continuing to rip human beings from daycare centers in Chicago. And imagine for a moment being a child in this daycare center and witnessing a screaming woman ripped out of the building by two masked men. The lasting trauma of that. So in between the necessary celebration of electoral wins across the country are reminders that things are still very bad because Donald Trump was elected just 1 year ago. And I think we need to hold these two ideas at once, that good things can continue to happen, and also that bad things will continue to happen if we give up, if we give in, if we stop fighting. So we still have a long way to go, and those who were elected last night have a lot on their plates. They have a lot of work to do, but I think it's worth pausing for a moment to reflect on some of the campaign choices here, because there are lessons for the Democratic Party and our leaders if they are willing to accept them, but also to reflect on how deeply unpopular Donald Trump is, how deeply unpopular his policies are, and what a catastrophic miscalculation the Republican Party made by tying their entire identity and existence to this one ailing, bigoted, and hateful little man. Before we get to the race that I am most excited about, a brief overview and shout out to the wins we should celebrate. Democratic candidate for governor of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, won her race and will become the first woman ever elected governor in the state of Virginia. But Virginia also secured lieutenant governor and attorney general wins for Democrats. This is good news for many reasons, including constitutional amendments on the table, including one to implement redistricting that could provide Democrats with up to 4 seats. We saw a similar win on the redistricting front in California with Prop 50 passing. This, of course, is the response to Donald Trump directly asking for maps to be redrawn to add Republican seats. Many Democrats have stepped up to the plate to fight fire with fire in order to save democracy, and we really do love to see it. Representative Mikey Sherrill won the governor's race in New Jersey, defeating a Trump-endorsed radical by a larger margin than what the polls had predicted going in. It's great news for people who support abortion rights, by the way, as Mikey Sherrill's opponent ran on a 20-week abortion ban that he was going to sign. Detroit City Council President Mary Sheffield, a Democrat, is the first female mayor of Detroit. Democrats secured their majority in the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court. And I could go on and on and on. And please comment below with your favorite or most impactful victory of the night. But the victory that has given me the most hope, and quite frankly has caused me to cry for most of the morning with hopeful, joyful tears, is the New York City mayoral election with Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, who ran such a optimistic and hopeful campaign, focused on the issues that matter most to working people. He ran a campaign that didn't shift during the general election to lean into bigotry or move to the middle. In fact, just last month, his campaign released an ad highlighting the legacy of prominent trans and gay rights activist Sylvia Rivera, a powerful message that he refused to abandon communities targeted by Donald Trump, those same communities often abandoned by Democrats. Even though he endured relentless, bigoted attacks on his Muslim faith, he responded not by cowering or trying to hide his identity, but by releasing an ad in Arabic.
أكثر من 2,000,000 شخص وخلي الباصات سريع ومجانا وأضمن رعاية الأطفال شاملة لكل العائلات.
Standing with working people, focused on affordability, standing with vulnerable community members, and refusing to back down or cower to his political opponents, and doing it with a smile and joy and affection for the city and the people who live there. And I really recommend that you watch his entire victory speech. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you here because it's over 20 minutes, but I will link to it in the description. I know that you will feel better after watching it, but I want to play a few parts from it and talk about them with you guys. I'll start with this, an anecdote that Mamdani shared about Richard, the cab driver.
And it's about people like Richard, the taxi driver I went on a 15-day hunger strike with outside of City Hall, who still has to drive his cab 7 days a week. My brother, we are in City Hall now.
Now, where have you ever heard something like this? A politician who is not making his victory about himself, but instead speaking directly to working people and saying, this power that I have now, it's your power, it's shared power. And people always ask me, I've gotten some responses on social media, Brittany, do you think he can deliver on everything that he's promised? I don't know, we'll see. But what a remarkable thing to see a politician elevating the stories of people who struggle to survive and focusing on the issues that matter most to them and refusing to cave to the billionaires who can normally purchase their proximity to power. It's essential to elect individuals who prioritize the needs of working people. It is crucial to demonstrate to the establishment that candidates who address these concerns are rewarded with power. And this win is also so necessary for hope. We need hope to build more power. But wait, there's more.
We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
Just an absolute mic drop. I mean, taking on landlords, taking on billionaires, protecting workers' rights, and standing with immigrants who are being absolutely terrorized by this administration. No looking for a consultant to tell him where public opinion is on an issue before speaking. No, this is the moral clarity that we need from our leaders. We direct public opinion based on what is right, by standing by what is right. And that is what this campaign's all about. I do not live in New York City, and I'm so happy and simultaneously extremely jealous of the New Yorkers who will now call Mamdani their mayor. What a remarkable achievement, and one that can inspire us all. We don't have to take these lectures anymore from the pundit class telling us that Democrats lose elections because they stand with trans people or refuse to lean into a little bit of racism. No, this is proof of what happens when you have the courage to stand for what is right. And, Trump's election in 2024, after it, there were so many things written. There was so much coverage of the Black and Latino voters who left the Democratic Party to vote for him. So let's look at some of Mamdani's numbers on this. Black residents, 57% for Mamdani. Hispanic residents, 52% for Mamdani. And in enraging news, only 45% of white voters went for Mamdani. And while we're looking at this, let's just look at the exit polls for the other races. If we look at the New Jersey governor's race, over 90% of Black voters and 68% of Hispanic voters supported the Democratic candidate who won, compared to just 47% of white voters. These numbers, by the way, almost exactly the same if we look at the governor's race in Virginia as well. White people, including white women, have a lot of work to do. We know this. Communities of color are showing up, electing Democrats, even as the pundit class tells us that Donald Trump's strength in capturing a multiracial coalition is something that we need to grapple with. Donald Trump is weak. He cannot govern by convincing people to vote for him. That is why he responded to these wins across the country by calling on Republicans to abolish the filibuster and reopen the government, sidestepping negotiations on healthcare subsidies that are set to expire, causing healthcare premiums for millions of Americans to double and in some cases triple. It's why he's calling on red states to gerrymander their congressional maps and add Republican seats. These people cannot win on ideas, but Democrats can. And Mamdani gave Democrats the perfect lesson in this, if only they will take it. So let us all be inspired, and let us stay in the fight, and let us continue to pressure our elected officials to lead, to stand up for what is right, and to stop being afraid to lead and stand up for what is right. Are you feeling good? That is the big question. Share it in the comments. Let's celebrate this win after many months of terror. I would love to hear from you on this. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, or call and leave me a fewer than 3-minute voicemail at 202-656-1509, or send an email to info@thepageperspective.com. Please follow me on social media at Brittany Page on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. Please subscribe to the channel. You can also become a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month by clicking the join button below, or you can go to patreon.com/idoubtapodcast. As always, thanks for being here. Take care, and I'll see you next time.